the night deepened, but the glow between them only grew brighter. On the bed, wrapped in white sheets and golden light, the two women lay entwined, their breaths steady, their hearts still racing from the storm of kisses that had passed. Outside, the world moved forward, cars hummed, the city whispered, but here, in this private sanctuary, time obeyed only them. The auburn-haired woman shifted slightly, her teal silk robe slipping further down her shoulder, revealing a glow on her skin that made the raven-haired woman draw in a slow, reverent breath. The sight was more than beauty. It was intimacy incarnate. She reached out, brushing her fingertips lightly along the exposed shoulder, tracing invisible shapes, savoring the warmth beneath her touch. "You're looking at me like I'm a painting," the auburn-haired woman teased, her lips curving into a soft smile. "You're more than that," the raven-haired woman whispered back. "You're every color, every line, every piece of art I never knew I was missing." The words landed like a kiss themselves, tender and unshakable. The auburn-haired woman leaned forward, capturing her lips again, this time with a fire that reignited the room. Their kiss stretched long and unhurried, melting them together like candle wax in a flame. Their bodies pressed closer until there was no space between them, only the seamless joining of warmth and devotion. The sheets rustled softly as they shifted, adjusting into each other's embrace. The raven-haired woman slid her hand along the curve of the silk robe, gently pushing it back until the fabric draped down, leaving the auburn-haired woman glowing under the lamplight. Their eyes met, and for a long moment, they simply stared, breathing the same air, hearts matching pace. The auburn-haired woman broke the silence with a laugh, quiet and trembling. "Why does this feel so impossible and so inevitable at the same time?" The raven-haired woman tucked a curl behind her ear. "Because we were always meant to end up here." They kissed again, soft and slow, letting time bend around them. Every brush of their lips carried tenderness. Every glance spoke volumes. Every sigh filled the silence with something far louder than words. The lamp hummed faintly, shadows stretched along the wall, and the night folded itself around them like a blanket, keeping them hidden in their shared universe. Eventually, the auburn-haired woman pulled away just slightly, her lips grazing her partner's ear as she whispered, "I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to miss even a second of this." The raven-haired woman smiled, her fingers lacing with hers under the sheets. "Then we won't. We'll stay awake together. We'll let the night carry us." And so they did. They lay together, kissing and whispering, their voices weaving stories into the air. They spoke of dreams, of the futures they wished to build, of the secret corners of their hearts they had never shown anyone else. Every sentence was punctuated with laughter, every pause filled with kisses. Their connection deepened, thread by thread, until it became something unbreakable. At one point, the raven-haired woman leaned back just enough to look at her fully. Her eyes were soft, dark as midnight but glowing with light. "Do you realize what we've done tonight?" The auburn-haired woman tilted her head, curiosity sparking in her gaze. "What?" "We've rewritten forever," she said. "From now on, no matter what happens, this moment will always exist. Nothing can take it away." The auburn-haired woman kissed her again in response, slow and deliberate, as though sealing the vow. The kiss lingered, deeper, richer, carrying the weight of promises yet to come. When they finally parted, their foreheads touched, and both of them breathed as one. The hours drifted, but neither felt tired. Instead, they floated on waves of affection, letting the quiet intimacy carry them into uncharted depths. They explored each other's laughter, studied every glance, memorized every movement. It wasn't just passion, it was discovery. The kind of closeness that unfolded gently, revealing new layers with every touch. By the time dawn whispered faintly at the edges of the curtains, the women were still wrapped together, their lips swollen from countless kisses, their hearts steady, their bodies relaxed in the safety of each other's arms. The lamp had dimmed, the air had cooled, but the fire between them remained, undimmed and unstoppable. The auburn-haired woman pressed a final kiss to her partner's cheek, her voice quiet, nearly lost to the silence. "I never thought I'd find something like this. Not in this lifetime." The raven-haired woman drew her closer, wrapping her in an embrace that spoke louder than words. "You didn't find it. We created it, together." Their eyes closed, not because the night had ended, but because it had given them everything it could. Sleep arrived like a soft wave, carrying them both into dreams where they still kissed, still held, still loved. And when the morning finally came, the world outside might have been brighter, louder, faster, but for them, nothing had changed. They had found something infinite. The story of that night wasn't just written in kisses or whispers. It was etched into their souls, forever alive in the way they looked at each other, forever glowing in the warmth of their touch. A single night had become eternity, and eternity had never felt so human, so tender, so irresistibly alive. 2. The night of velvet whispers. The night was heavy with silence, the kind that makes every breath sound louder, every movement feel more alive. The bedroom glowed in warm golden light from a single lamp on the nightstand. The sheets were freshly turned, soft and white like untouched snow. Against that backdrop, two women leaned into each other, every line of their bodies illuminated in a cinematic frame. As though the universe itself had dimmed its lights to showcase only them, the auburn-haired woman wore a deep teal silk robe, smooth and gleaming like liquid moonlight. Her loose curls spilled onto her shoulders, framing her face in waves of warmth and fire. Her eyes were alive with anticipation, carrying 1,000 unspoken emotions. The raven-haired woman, in contrast, was dressed in a sleek black slip dress, the thin straps revealing the elegant shape of her shoulders. Her hair, silky and dark, brushed lightly against her collarbone as she tilted closer. Their lips hovered in the quiet space between a pause and a promise. Then, without hesitation, the auburn-haired woman closed the distance, brushing her mouth softly against the other's. The kiss was tender at first, like a whisper shared only between them. Slowly, it grew deeper, more certain, as if both had been waiting for this moment all their lives. The room seemed to dissolve. No walls, no bed, no lamp, only the heat of two bodies pressed close, only the rhythm of shared breath, only the taste of longing and discovery. Each kiss lingered, slow and deliberate, carrying a warmth that sank deep into their bones. The raven-haired woman's hand slid gently across silk fabric, fingertips tracing the line of the robe as though sketching a memory onto her skin. She paused at the auburn-haired woman's waist, grounding them in touch, then drew her closer. The auburn-haired woman responded in kind, resting her palm against the other's cheek, her thumb brushing lightly along the curve of her jaw. Their eyes met again in the breathless moment between kisses. "This feels like a dream," the auburn-haired woman whispered. The raven-haired woman smiled, her lips so close they almost touched again. No dream could ever feel this real. And she kissed her again, softer, slower, letting the moment expand into infinity. Time slipped away, replaced by the rhythm of heartbeats syncing together, by the glow of two souls finding one another under the weight of a quiet night. The teal robe slid slightly from one shoulder, revealing smooth skin kissed by the warm lamp glow. The raven-haired woman leaned forward, pressing her lips lightly against the exposed curve, leaving trails of fire across delicate skin. The auburn-haired woman let out a soft, trembling breath, tilting her head back, surrendering to the sensation. Every touch was magnified, every kiss engraved deep inside. Outside, the world continued its endless rush, cars passing, city lights blinking, distant voices floating into the night. But in this room, time had stopped. Here, there was only tenderness, desire, and the intoxicating closeness of two bodies weaving together like a story meant to be written only once. The auburn-haired woman pulled her closer until their bodies molded perfectly, silk against silk, warmth against warmth. Her hand slid into the raven-haired woman's hair, fingers tangling in the soft strands, pulling her deeper into the kiss. The raven-haired woman responded with a soft hum, a sound that vibrated between them like a song written only for this moment. Their kisses became slower again, but no less intense, like waves rolling onto the shore, retreating only to come back stronger. They savored each movement, each brush of lips, each sigh escaping into the quiet air. It wasn't about rushing. It was about being present, about letting passion bloom at its own pace, about cherishing the unfolding of something eternal. When they pulled back, their foreheads rested together, noses brushing lightly, breaths mingling. The auburn-haired woman's voice trembled with truth. "I've never felt more alive than I do right now." The raven-haired woman's eyes shimmered, dark pools reflecting all the light in the room. "Then let's stay alive in this moment forever." She leaned in again, kissing her deeply, firmly, as though sealing the promise in their lips. The robe slipped further, silk cascading like water down her arm. The black slip rustled softly as the raven-haired woman shifted closer, wrapping her arm around the other's waist. Their bodies pressed tighter, their warmth blending, erasing any trace of separation. The room filled with the quiet symphony of sighs and whispers. The auburn-haired woman traced her hand along the smooth line of her partner's back, memorizing every contour, every curve. The raven-haired woman's touch lingered along the side of her neck, brushing against her pulse, feeling the rapid rhythm that echoed her own. Neither spoke for a long while. They didn't need words. Every kiss was a sentence, every glance a paragraph, every caress an entire story. Together, they wrote a tale with nothing but touch, nothing but breath, nothing but the certainty of love that didn't ask for permission, it simply was. Minutes slipped into hours as they moved between whispers and silence, between kisses and pauses. At times, their kisses were playful, filled with soft laughter that spilled into the quiet. At others, they were deep, consuming, carrying the weight of emotions too vast to name. Yet through it all, one thing remained constant: the sense that they had finally found the piece of themselves that had always been missing. The auburn-haired woman pressed her lips against the raven-haired woman's temple, breathing her in. The raven-haired woman nestled closer, resting her head lightly against her shoulder, fingers still tangled together. They didn't let go, not even for a second. "I don't want this night to end," the auburn-haired woman whispered. The raven-haired woman lifted her gaze, eyes glowing with sincerity. "It doesn't have to. As long as we're here, together, the night is ours." And with that, the silence wrapped around them once again, not empty, but full. Full of promises, full of unspoken vows, full of the certainty that this was only the beginning. They shifted back against the pillows, curling into each other as though the world beyond the room no longer mattered. The lamp cast long shadows across the walls, framing their bodies in golden hues, capturing their love like a painting. Their lips met once more, lingering, unhurried, sealing the night in sweetness. And when their eyes finally closed, sleep carried them, not into darkness, but into the warmth of each other's embrace, two hearts beating as one, two souls resting in the quiet fire of love discovered at last.